One bullet, one squeeze of the trigger. That's all it would have taken. But in 1918 a British soldier lowered his rifle and let a wounded German soldier walk away. That man would later become the world's most evil dictator. Is this truth or history's greatest lie? Today we search for the answer. This story begins in 1891, in a small English town called Leamington Spa, where a boy was born into an ordinary family. His name was Henry Tandy. His childhood was unremarkable, with no grand dreams and no heroic destiny, just a boy. But in 1910, at the age of 19, he made a decision that would change his life forever when he enlisted in the Green Howards Regiment. 4 years later, in 1914, the First World War erupted, and Tandy was already a seasoned soldier. But no one knew just how horrific this war would become. Part 2. The moment that changed everything. The First World War was unlike anything the world had ever seen, as soldiers lived in trenches for months surrounded by mud, blood, and death every single day. Henry Tandy fought in some of history's most brutal battles, the fields of Ypres, Belgium, where thousands died from poison gas attacks. Tandy was there and he survived. The fields of Passchendaele, Belgium, where the mud was so deep that men drowned in it. Tandy was there and he survived. He was stabbed with a rifle bayonet, shot multiple times, and gassed with poison as he was left for dead over and over again, but every single time he came back. By 1918, Henry Tandy had become a legend, as his brothers-in-arms called him the unkillable man. But the most important day was still coming. Part 3, Truth, Lies and Legend. September 28, 1918, a small French village called Marcon-Quang. Tandy's battalion was surrounded by German forces, as bullets and screams were everywhere, with men dying and his friends bleeding out in the mud. While others dove for cover, Tandy ran forward into the storm of bullets, dragging wounded men back to safety, capturing enemy positions, and holding the line when everyone thought it would break. For his bravery that day, he was awarded the Victoria Cross, the highest military honour in the British Empire. But the story doesn't end there. The battle was over, and German soldiers were retreating as Tandy scanned the battlefield, and then he saw him. A German soldier, wounded and limping with no weapon as he stumbled through the mud. Tandy saw him, and the German soldier saw Tandy as their eyes locked. Tandy raised his rifle with one bullet and one squeeze as the German was defenceless. In war, this was normal and no one showed mercy. But Tandy didn't fire. He lowered his rifle. The German soldier remained on his knees, waiting for the bullet that never came, as he slowly raised his head, and again their eyes locked. The German nodded once, not in surrender but in gratitude, a simple gesture and a silent acknowledgement that said, "You spared me." Then he struggled to his feet, still limping and still bleeding, and disappeared into the smoke and ruins, into the shadows of history. That soldier's name, Adolf Hitler. Yes, that Hitler. The man shown mercy that day would later kill over 60 million people through the Holocaust and World War II with pure evil. He had no mercy, no humanity, and no heart. But in 1918, a British soldier gave him mercy. Is this story true? That question still haunts historians today. This story didn't come from Tandy, but came from Hitler himself. In 1938, British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain visited Hitler in Germany, where in Hitler's office there was a painting showing a scene from the Battle of Marcoing, with a British soldier carrying a wounded comrade. Hitler pointed to the painting and said, "That man came so close to killing me that I thought I would never see Germany again, but fate saved me." Chamberlain returned to England and contacted Tandy, and Tandy admitted that yes, he had spared a wounded German soldier that day. But was it Hitler? Here's what we know for certain. Hitler was at Marcoing as his regiment fought there that exact day. Hitler was wounded multiple times during the war and survived, and Tandy did spare an enemy soldier, which is confirmed. But was it Hitler? Historians are divided, as some say Hitler fabricated the story to make himself appear as a man chosen by destiny, while others say it might be true. The truth? We may never know. But one thing is certain, Henry Tandy saved a life that day, and that decision changed the world. Outro, the weight of mercy. After the war, Henry Tandy lived a quiet life as he worked as a security guard and never boasted about his heroism. When journalists asked him about Hitler, he simply said, "I didn't like shooting a wounded man." In 1977, Henry Tandy died at the age of 86, as he never confirmed whether that soldier was Hitler. But the question remains, What if Tanday had pulled the trigger that day? Would 60 million people have lived? Would the Holocaust never have happened? Would World War II have been prevented? This was the story of Henry Tanday, the soldier who couldn't pull the trigger. If you found this story as haunting as I did, leave a like and subscribe. History's darkest what-ifs are waiting. Thanks for watching.